Standing atop the lonely battlements of Castle Lahnstein, an architectural marvel described as picturesque by poets and structurally unsound by masons, I, Lord Andreas Lahnstein, aristocrat, bon viveur, occasional practitioner of the dark arts, amateur diarist, and, at present, comfortably inebriated werewolf, survey my modest little world, inconveniently situated as it is in the more alpine regions of the magical realm of Fantasia, a land so enchanted that even the unicorns roll their eyes in disbelief. I wrap myself in my warmest winter cloak and clutch a steaming tankard of mulled wine. I gaze out over the snow-laden slopes and valleys stretching into the distance until the entire landscape and sky dissolve into one white blur of falling snow, nature's way of telling us she has run out of color palettes for the season, obscuring the horizon in every direction. Blinking and sniffing as heavy snowflakes relentlessly land on my nose and in my eyes, each one apparently harboring a personal vendetta, I stand enveloped in a muffled silence, broken only by the barely audible crunch of my boots on the virgin snow. My ears protected from the chill winds by the thick fur-lined hood of my garb, a necessity in this climate, unless one enjoys frost-bitten extremities, twitch at the stillness around me. Another winter solstice nearly upon us, another year almost over, and yet here I am, still drawing icy breath as I stare out into the hazy white abyss, proving once again that the universe has a talent for repetition. A time for folk, both rich and poor, to valiantly drive the ice and frost from their homes and hearts with merrymaking and overly enthusiastic decorations, an annual tradition in which everyone attempts to outdo their neighbors in festooning their fireplace or cottage hearth. The wealthy do it with tasteful grandeur, the poor with stubborn optimism. They try to ensure that at least one room in the house becomes a welcoming sanctuary from early nights and bitter cold, a place where occupants can huddle and distract themselves from the relentless darkness by eating and drinking far more than they are naturally accustomed to, till they reach that spiritual and reflective revelry, the fuzzy-headed, slightly nauseous, trance-like state where one is unwilling, or frankly unable, to rise from the chair or floor, capable only of emitting trapped wind from both ends. Truly, nothing unites a family quite like shared indigestion. All this undertaken with the comforting knowledge that both kin and whatever cosmic spirits one claims allegiance to have been dutifully honored with ample quantities of nature's baked, boiled, roasted, and fermented bounty. In times of old, Castle Lahnstein was no exception. Every year my father would dispatch some well-wrapped servant into the snowy forests to cut a fresh pine tree, to take pride of place beside the fire in the grand hall, where it would become the festive candelabra, ready to be lovingly decorated with the traditional stag's heads and tasty treats, ornamentation which might strike some outsiders, unaccustomed to our customs, as mildly alarming. I always remember my excitement as a young pup when the old sack of skulls was brought out. Their musty smell of dust, bone, and the faint hint of decay signaled that the season's jollities were officially underway. I would spend hours wrapping fresh ivy around the antlers, smoothing the faded silk ribbons, and placing the heads artfully among the foliage. Then came the meat. Traditional spiced sausages, gamey ham, and venison cuts were hung from the branches with gaily colored cords, swaying gently and wafting their heavy aroma around the room like some charnel house chandelier. We always procured the finest delicacies for this occasion. Poorer folk, bless their determined ingenuity, might make do with strips of bread dipped in goose fat, and a sheep skull or two with improvised tree-branch antlers jammed into the empty eye sockets. There's nothing quite like creative taxidermy to occupy the boredom of long winter nights. The carnalabra played a vital role during the 6 festival days leading up to Solstice Eve. As a mark of respect to the winter spirits, every day before the evening meal, each family member breaks off a pine branch with a piece of meat attached. It is traditional to start at the top and work one's way down as the days progress, much like life, except with more sausages. The broken branch with its dangling cut of meat is then thrown into the blazing fire with a shout of hearty crisp meats. The pine needles erupt into a ball of flame, sending sizzling aromatic fat fumes up the chimney and into the sky above, to bring pleasure to any hungry storm spirit passing overhead. One hopes the spirits have refined taste, otherwise we've been wasting a great deal of perfectly good food over the years. Only when the spirits are properly appeased may the family seat themselves at the dining table. By Solstice Eve, just a bare trunk remains. The following morning it is broken up to start the new day's fire, while the skulls are collected and placed at the windows to ward off any malignant ghosts who might be tempted to bestow ill fortune upon the house for the coming year. Because, apparently, nothing discourages supernatural mischief like being stared at by a row of dead ungulates. So here's wishing you all hearty crisp meats, and may good spirits, preferably the benevolent well-fed sort, bless us, every one.